Hello, Prime Media audiences. This is your host, Ladette Muleta. I am here with a guest, Akalu Abraham, Ambassador of Peace and Pan-Africanist. I'm really excited that, Akalu, you're joining me today at Prime Media. Thank you for taking your time and thank you for taking your time and visiting us here at our studio. I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself to our audiences. For those who don't know you, please give us a brief introduction.
Thank you for having me, and I think I'm very much excited to be here, and I'm very glad. I'm Akalu Abraham, obviously, and I've been born and raised in the southern part of Ethiopia. I've been working in schools as a teacher, school principal, and I've been in the military, and then I've been in managing schools, like as a school principal, and then managing institutions, and something like I was in a leadership staff. And then also, last 2 years, I've been working on the, empowering youths, traveling every corner of Ethiopia, and then trying to empower the youths to be better generation for the future. And then I was doing those things, especially on teaching about love, unity, and then strengthening and bringing the better of Ethiopia and then the continent at large. So those are that I've been working, and then now I'm just opening a new organization named Wake Up Africa, Ethio Global Hope. This is a startup actually. I'm a founder of that and a CEO as well. So that is it in short.
Okay, great. Akalu, thank you so much for joining us. So there's a lot of topics that we can discuss today, especially focusing around Africa, specifically Ethiopia first. Right now, Ethiopia is facing a sanction, and HR 6600 is something that's been in the airwaves because it really affects Ethiopia, and also affects the diaspora because in the content there's a lot of things that will disrupt Ethiopian Americans' relationship with Ethiopia. Some of the things that it's going to affect Ethiopia with is like loans to be banned both for Ethiopia and Eritrea from international organizations such as the IMF, and then suspension of security, financial assistance, and so forth. What do you think about this proposition, and do you think we're doing enough to make sure that we are relaying the message that we are not as Ethiopians, at least for the diaspora, and both for Ethiopians here, that our relationship between the U.S. and Ethiopia needs to align in a way that it's mutually beneficial and so forth. We've had a great relationship for many decades and so forth. So what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you. You see, HR 6600 is a very serious one than the other sanctions that we have been facing before. You see, the IMF and then the World Bank and then more the Europeans already putting suppressions over this nation, which is not acceptable in Ethiopians and then all over Africa as well, because this is exactly touches the people down there. It brings crisis to the nation because we have been supported by them long years. Until we are getting stronger, there is still we need to have support each other fairly. That means there has to be always the mutual benefit in between. They have been supporting us. That was wonderful. And then they had also some interest. You see, national interest they do have. And then we do have also our national interest not to be touched like that, not to be pushed by them. So that is the conflict that we have been. So this sanction is a very serious one that all Ethiopians needs to be against this sanction. I can see that our brothers and sisters up there in the US, they are already trying, I think, going to make by Monday kind of rally. So that is really wonderful. So it tells us that what we did on normal movement. It brought a lot of changes. It brought shaked and then rocked all over the world even. So that was started in US, which is our case. So I think the nations, the citizens, Ethiopians, and then diasporas, they need to be with us, with Ethiopians, because Ethiopia is theirs. So this sanction may affect down to the people who are living in a poor, in a poor situations. So if you ask me, I totally disagree this, and then I'm against it. I'm trying my best on social medias to sign, the petitions, and then and then to be with us fighting this thing, because we need to see a great country. We need to see a great nation in here. We don't have to suffer all the years depending upon them. So on the other side, it's very good opportunity for Ethiopians to be strong and stand together, and then united as one nation, and then bring the better future for this country. Because when we are pushed like that, it is time for us to see ourselves and then do something for the betterment of our people. So it gives you some kind of lesson as well. So in general, we have to refuse this thing. We have to be against this sanction. And then some are, some people are, even Ethiopians, they are, saying negative things towards this. I mean, like, they support this thing. I mean, like, they have to be against it, but they're supporting it as well. I can see that, many are trying this, which is wrong. Because this nation is theirs. Their children are going to grow in here. Their children are going to raise in here and then live their lives and then lead for the generations to come, right? Yep. So they don't have to support this, and they have to be against it as a nation. Because this is my country. I have to be with my country. Whatever the reason is, whatever the politics is there, still we have to support this and then work for the betterment of the nation in general.
I agree. I think considering, Ethiopia has its problems, just like every nation.
Sure.
I'm sure. How would this sanction help us? The question is, would this, I don't understand, pressurizing countries who are already having some issues that need to be worked on. Wouldn't encouraging, or wouldn't, to see citizens, like you mentioned, supporting this, sanctions like this affect people who have nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
who depend on their lives, for instance, with a job, or whether it's a resource that they are provided. This affects the people that are on the ground, who otherwise depend on, they depend on this.
Yeah.
So it's not beneficial.
Sure.
And does sanctions really work? It seems like we've been hearing a lot of sanctions, in Africa, Eritrea, and
Sure.
many countries in the last couple of years.
Right.
And has it really brought any change?
Sure, some people argue that, Eritreans, you can take North Korea, they were, for the last decades, they have been on sanctions. But the way they live is, away from the world, and then living there, in the poverty level is also there. No development is there. You can see people may live in safe, but you need to have developed. You need to have better. You need to have, technologically grown, economically grown, and people should need to come to your country and visit your country, and then the tourism should be there. If you see those countries, those are in sanctions, they have been, I think, suffering with this kind of problem. Nobody needs to go to North Korea to visit. You see, all the Europeans don't go there. If you take, Eritrea and some other who are in sanctions, we know their life status and how they're living, how their people are really living. Are they living proper life of something like, with economically within a capital level and something like that? I don't think so. Sanction plays a greater role. We have to say no to this sanction. And look, last time even we had a sanction before a month and something like that. And then there were industries, you see, industrial park and something. The U.S. industries there in the industrial parks. I remember thousands of became jobless, and then they closed their industry, and then they get back to U.S. and then Many were in crisis. I remember in a Wasa, even in a VPH or something like that. I saw many were crying there. They lost their job and something. They were, leading their own life, children, kids, and many more there. So they suffered. So they don't need this sanction then, those guys. I mean, the people who are, in the down level. Yeah, so the sanction place, you see, the sanction now it's about money. And then it's about, closing everything, not to buy weapons from every countries. Everybody is against you, the Europeans and the West in general. That's crisis then. No, when one of the country from Europe, if they try to help you, they are also against that country. So that brings, again, another challenge. So nobody is interested to lose the European Union. You see? For that, they don't want to support you because the European Union will say, no, why you are helping them? Why you are there positive with them? They're going to say, you see? And then the other part, the Asians may support you because they don't like those guys. The Europeans, I mean the West is, and then the Russia may support these things, and then also the South Americans, the Latin Americans, they may support it. The Caribbeans may support us with this, and then if you ask those who are rich and wealthy countries, they don't support you then. So who are going to suffer then? The people are down there. The poor people are there to suffer with this lack of poverty. I mean lack of water, shortage of water, and then electricity, and then health problem, and maybe many are supported with this. So we don't have to lose this support. But until we get strong, until we get, being built ourselves, to say no to everything. So until then, we need to support each other mutually, 50-50. Not like, because they support us, they don't have to play on us. So that is, we have to put a kind of red line there, right? So after that red, I mean, when you say no, they think again, you see? Why these people are saying like this? They do have their own reason, you see? Because we saw many good things for the last, because we said no more to everything that they are suppressing us, so that brought a lot of change. So they respected us. Both governments respected each other. They got a kind of ownership, you see. So I think that is very serious crisis that we need to be against it.
Okay, I think the No More movement is being activated because of HR 6600, and there's also a lot of things going on in the world right now with what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. There's a lot of reactions. There's a lot of repercussions. Yeah. There's a lot of issues that trickle down and affect the whole entire world, from Africans being stuck in areas of Ukraine, sure. And not just Africans, all these civilians in Ukraine struggling, and the refugees, and so forth. Everything is going to affect our world. We live in a world that's very interconnected. How do you see, what are the difference of reactions that you see in different parts of the world? Like, for instance, in Africa, how is Africans in general viewing the situation in Ukraine and Russia, and how is it's viewed in Asia, and how is it viewed in the European community or European world, and then in the north, in the US and so forth? How is the view of people? And most of all, we'll come back to that, but what can the people do in this world right now to kind of settle the situation and help bring peace, since you are that's one of your areas that you've worked on?
Yeah, it's very sad, you see, when you see the reactions in every corner. You observe something. The Europeans, they were not there when Afghanistan was burning up like that. They were not reacting the way they reacted today, because that is Europe, you see. They were not reactive for the Libya like that, when NATO is kicking like that, demolishing Libya like that, the great nation, the beautiful nation that you can find in Africa, you see. Now it's changing into rebels, you see. And then they were not there, you see, for Iraq, and then they were not there for Palestinians. They were suffering a lot there, but they didn't say anything. They kept silence. When it comes to Europe, they started, you see, everyone was coming out and then saying no, and then the sanction was there. You saw the UN, the EUs, and then the monetary fund, IMF, and then World Bank, and everyone was, rushing there because it's Europe. Even they said that Europe is a civilized country, they don't deserve this. What does that mean? It's very funny. Europe they don't deserve to migrate. They don't say they're migrating in something like that. They are just respecting them, differently. Such kind of chaos is not expected in Europe. Some of the journalists say it belongs to Africa. It belongs to some other countries, the Middle East and something like that. If it is in the Middle East, it's okay. You see, if it is in Africa, it's okay. But when it became came to Europe, that's wrong. You see. Very touching, and the journalists were, I was listening many medias like that. They were just, many of them are saying like that. It's very pity. It's very sad. They think that they're the creature of this world. They are the one who managing this world. They think that they are a little god of this nature, which is wrong. There's God who is watching everything, what is happening, and then trying to tell them punishment. I mean, he's warning them. They didn't see this. It's a warning for them to see human nature fairly, to treat human nature fairly. And they didn't see that, this angle, the spiritual part of it. They didn't see that. So I think the time is for Africa and then the Asia, and you see the time is already turning now. Before many years they have been, did a lot of things, but now things are changing, you see. Europe is gone down because Asia is on the other side, and then Russia is on the other side, and then take the Caribbeans is on the other side, and then the South Americans are on the other side of refusing the Europeans. So this is crisis. Everything they get is from Africa. Everything they get is from this part of world. You see, the oil they get is from Middle East, and then Africa, and then Ukraine, and something like that. Look. And then the resources they have been reserving there, everything is from Africa. Look, the diamond is reserved there, the gold is at the coltan and the cobalt and everything. It's all there. But we are here. It is in our hands, you see. We didn't use that. Actually, it's very pity, as I mean. The reaction is obvious. The other side is against this. Many are against the Europeans. So the Europeans need to take a lesson from this. Where are we now? What is happening? And then what kind of restructuring that we better use to make a peaceful situation between these all continents, Asians, and then look, Africa, they're losing a lot. So they have to sit down and then see their structures. The neocolonialism system is not going to work anymore. It's going down. We're killing it, you see? So it's an alarm, it's a warning, it's a calling for them to understand these things. So the reaction is very amazing, and it's very inspirational sometimes. This is happening for better, because for the long years, for decades, they played on the black nation. For 400 years in the slave trade, you see, Atlantic, transatlantic slave trade. You see, those all sins are already now paying them back, you see. I think they have to sit down and then say, bring some kind of a wonderful status quo which try to make all the nations together with a peaceful environment. That is what I really want to suggest the Europeans. They have to settle down and see things, what is happening in the world. You see, they're not the one who decides on my life in here, in Africa. If they want to support me, they have to support me in fair. They don't have to take 90% of my reserve and then give me a little bit, like 0 point something. That's not fair. It's a crime even. It's killing people. Look how Africans are living. Look how Asians are living now, rebels. Is that fair? That's not fair. God didn't allow this. You see, this is not biblical actually. Just you have to be fair enough. Look, my people, how they're living in a shortage of water and in electricity, and then killing each other. In ethnic federalism and something like that. You see, these all were purposely created. When you were suffering like this, they live in safe, have a good lunch there. 3 times in a day, 4 times in a day they eat. My people don't eat like that in Africa, right? Once in a day is very hard to get even in Africa if you go. We black nations, we are always there to suffer. Why is that? Look, if you go to desert, they are there looking for a better life and then trying to go to Europe. Why? You see, Many are dying on the desert. Many are eaten by animals. Many are, eaten by sharks in the on the seas. This shouldn't be happening again. We Africans, we have to wake up and we have to think about that. Those our ancestors fought for Pan-Africanism. It is time for Africa to think about this back and then build a great nation, United States of Africa, which can everyone watches and then pays and takes, not simply taking 90% of this resource, right? So when the time comes, everything is going to be changed into here. They're there to see our hands that we want to give them, right? So these are the reactions that I can see, and then we have to learn from it as an African. So I think just the ideas.
Yeah, great. I think, Akalu, I agree. I think it's very important that we nurture coexistence with our European, Asian, or every part of the world in a very mutually respectful manner. And I think one of the things, with all the suppression, whether it's in social media, whether it's in regular media, there's a lot of suppression right now.
Yes.
You can't really freely express your opinions, and we've been preached about freedom of speech. I don't know for how long, as for Africa especially, that Africa needs to have freedom of speech, and then here we are in 2022, and the freedom defenders are the ones suppressing people's voice, because the people's voice are saying no more to these unfair treatments and unfair, business relationship, unfair, relationship period. And unfortunately, one of the things that I'm sensing is, unfortunately, the Russia and Ukraine situation, as unfortunate it is to see civilians being affected this way, I think other nations are also bringing out their frustration by expressing, all the things that has happened, because I think we've heard more about Iraq, Libya, and Afghanistan and so forth now than we've had, in a while, because these things are, boiled up issues. Even in, in South America and so forth, there's a lot of, hidden animosity or hidden frustration. And I think this is really the time, like you said, for the Western world to sit down and realize that, that we have to treat each other a little bit differently now, and to coexist. And what is what is being a superpower if you're not creating or if you're not being an example, because it's not being an example to do things that's currently happening towards Africa or Middle East or anywhere else. What about the economy?
You see, it's obvious that this time was really, hard time. This decade, I can say, this decade is a very hard time for the world. A lot of temptation was there for the last 5 years, if you take many more, the droughts, and then you see the COVID even playing a great role. I think we have to think and sit down and then see things in a better way. And then look, the Europeans, they're the one who they think that they're civilized and they're in war again. It's very touching. What is happening in this world? Why? You see, it doesn't help having EU and then being one in there, you see, and then trying to suppress others. That's not working now. You have to bring a kind of understanding way for everyone as a human. It is not written there the black nation should be treated this way, and then the Asian should be treated this way. They're human. All we are the same. Even every human nature came from Ethiopia, and then it's amazing. So they didn't respect us for that. You see, It is their scientists who discovered and the cradle of humanity and the origin of human nature and something like that. And they don't respect this nation then. What does that mean? It's the mother of the world. And then now they're trying to suppress this nation. How on earth are you making your mother like that? That's on the other hand, if we think so. You see, if you take on the case of the Ukraine and then the way the black, students were treated, our 7, even Ethiopians 7, I saw they were on a prison, you see, and the way they treat the whites never been in the imprisonment there, you see. They treat negatively like that. Why? You see, they have to take a lesson. So this, give a lesson for others, even the whites, to refuse their status quo, their system of leadership, trying to bind the world, trying to suppress this world. Everyone is saying no to this because of their action. In Ukraine, in the Poland border, you see, they didn't allow the blacks to go to enter to the train because they're not allowed, because they are black. Even Indians and the Chinese, because they were kind of color differences there, they were entered to the train and then they went. And then they put us on the war to die. That's wrong as a human. And then some of them also treated like there was a bus. They couldn't enter the bus. They were allowed to go to use their own foot to the borderline, to the Poland, which is wrong as a human. Why? They were students. They went there with the diplomacy. The embassy did that, played a greater role to go to Ukraine. There was a peaceful relationship in between. Then when the war comes, they refuse. They ignored everything. They supremacized their white, it's very painful anyway. So my suggestion is, in general, they have to understand this thing. They are bringing a crisis towards themselves. And the users of Africa is understood everything. That's why everyone is refusing. That's why the Latin Americans are refusing. That's why the Caribbeans are refusing. You see, in Haiti, last time they tried something, you see, to kill the president. Even the people of the Haitians, because they thought that president was the puppet of the US. These kind of things are coming. So they have to understand as a human and think better thing for all human nature in general. If they want to support us, let them come with a positive kind of supporting, not with a special interest of it. When you lend someone money, you don't have to play with that man. He came with a problem. He told you his secret, that he had been suffering in problems. Maybe his kids' school fee and something like that. He came for that. You have to respect. And then give him the money. Then you don't have to play with that because you gave him the money. That's wrong. So they have to understand that. And then, as I told you, as I said earlier, they have to reshuffle or restructure their understanding towards all this, the other part of the world, rather than the Europe and the West only. They do have some kind of strong, bonded relationship there. But still, if they need a kind of good bond with Africans, they have to think once again that So that's my point, actually.
Yeah. No, I really hope that, like you said, you mentioned, I hope that people are going to, request for their government to have better policies.
Sure.
I hope, people are getting involved in not just the local, politics, but foreign policy of their country, because the world is, now very small. And I think most Western countries do not even have the pressure that other leaders in Africa, Middle East, and so forth are having in regards to how to run their countries. Just the other day, the Pakistani president said, "We're not, your slaves.
Yeah.
We're going to make decisions," because this was, I guess, in regards to buying oil or buying something from Russia, and because now the Western world is saying, if you're buying anything from Russia, or if you're buying something from somebody we sanctioned, or if you're voting this way or the other way on UN, this is very childish to control countries and leaders on these issues. And he said, we're not your slaves. We can make our decisions.
Sure. You see that some kind of spirit is coming, kind of, saying no to, operations, and then the neo one, the neo-colonialism, and then the modern colonialism, you can take it even. So, you see, the Asians, they're saying no. Whatever they bring, anything, they say why. They ask questions, why you do this? What is your interest? You don't come into simply and then distract my nation in here. No. You see, that is the courage, that is the gut that we need to have as an African. You see, I can see that African leaders have said no, including our Ethiopian Prime Minister also too, saying no. You see, by the time when they tell him that this thing is getting so horrible, so you need to leave or something like that, he went to the war front. You see, such kind of gut, such kind of heart is needed for African leaders. You see, I can see, the Ghanaian president also very strong. There are leaders who are very strong towards the Europeans, oppressions. That's very advisable. They take a lesson, and then they respect you. You respect them, and then you don't bow down to them at all. This is not the time of 40 years, 400 years ago. Exactly. That's not a time now. Now things are changing. It's 21st century. Everyone is civilized. The kids know everything. The kids even know better than me what is happening in the world. If you ask a little boy from primary school, they can tell you what is happening. In Ukraine, they can explain you everything. You see, things are changing in Africa. The technology they brought us even told us to know everything, showed us everything that they have been playing on this Mother Earth. So we understood everything. It's time for everyone to live in safe. You see, if not, things will be so hard to continue lives, to continue what God already gave us to live on. You see, for that there has to be some kind of serious, settlements. You see, we argue that on the council, we don't have an African country for the council, and then to decide on our issues, they have to put someone there. We have to have our representative there, right?
You mean the UN Security Council? The UN Security
Council. You see, they don't allow that. What does that mean? 56 country doesn't have any. It's a playing. It's all a playing. You see, but now that's not gonna work. So they have to understand. Okay, Africans already waking up, and then Asians, they are already waking up. Okay, and then go to every corner. Everybody understood what we have been doing. So let's take a rest and then think about it, and then bring some kind of negotiations, helping each other. We give you this, you gave us this. How much? This much. You see, it has to be, it has to be negotiable. Just you don't come and then take everything. If you do this, and then I am there to tell you to do this, and then not to do this. That's not working now. The users are already, crazy about this stuff in African. I can see, we are trying our best as an African, and then as an Ethiopian, you see, we're trying in every Anglophone, in every summit we meet, and then discuss issues and share ideas with African brothers and sisters, and then on the Zooms and then WhatsApps, and we share many ideas. Everyone is, wants the change of the African nation. Everybody was touched. And then we are trying to touch the African, the black dissidents who are from black offsprings, you see, telling to come back and then help their people. They don't have to come back to Africa, but their heart should be here. Save their nation. They know how they went from Africa to there. They're living in safe. They have to think of these people, how they're living in here. You see, I can see that many Africans, inventors in US, many African inventors in Europe, amazing. After I met many African brothers, I saw many things in there. Oh my God, who invented this? The black, blah, 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 this guy invented this. And then this guy invented this. Oh, so we think that everything is from Europe. No, many African brothers of ours, the blacks, did many things in the world. The inventions, I mean, it's amazing if you go down. Yeah. So it's very touching. So they don't respect this, you see? And then they still want the supremacy of the whites, which is wrong. Human is human, right? You have to respect for what they did, to what they contributed for the white. You see, when you invent, they say you are citizen. In Europe, I mean, when you invent something in Europe, you are a citizen of that nation, maybe France or something. When you do something wrong, you are immigrant there. But you are a citizen there. They call it this way, which is wrong. See? Human, see? Yeah. Very touching, actually. Yeah.
Great. Okay. I think, Akalu, I think we had a great discussion. I wish we had more time to talk a lot, but I think the conclusion is, we hope that the HR 6600 is, considered and removed so that Ethiopia and the US can have a bilateral, mutual beneficial relationship. Sure. And we hope that the situation in Ukraine and Russia, the world is encouraging peace and creating a platform where every nation is treated equally and fairly, and having a mutual relationship. I really appreciate you coming to Prime Media and spending some time with me. You are more than welcome to come back. I will sure be inviting you on other topics. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. And in general, I would like to say the final thing, and just 1 minute. Okay. You see, it's time for Africa now, and it's time for change, and to bring a real change. And everyone needs to be united as one nation. And then the oppression, those old things, doesn't work. And then the BRICS, those BRICS, I mean the Brazil and then Russia and some kind of, union is there. It's time for them to wake up and then unite all the other nations and then bring a better thing for for Africans and then those who are vulnerable for many things. So, and then when I come to Ethiopia, my country, my beloved one, and the one that I'm proud of it, I would like to say something for that. We are on the national dialogue issues now, so we need to think those things and then positively take it, supporting those, ideas coming, bringing those ideas which we want to be one. So I want to tell the Ethiopian people to think positive over these things, even if there are a lot of boycotts there, but still we need to, that's the only option that we have as a nation to be saved and then put a good nation in general, and then to put something for the generations to come. It's time for us to understand each other with a dialogue, even if we do have something wrong, some kind of ideas that we believe in, still we need to come to the solutions and then solve our problem on table and then teach the world, right? Even I raised some days back, I raised about the Tunisian case. There was a Tunisia also in this kind of crisis, and they finally brought in 8 months' time their problem. They solved it. Even the opposition parties were killed and something. But from old crisis, they became one, and then they put Tunisia into the better way. And then finally, even the negotiators, those who played a greater role, awarded with a Nobel Peace Prize even. In 2015, you can go and see that. So we need change. What the change is on the hands of the people, on the hands of the users, on the hands of every political parties, to make a strong nation in general. So I really would like to say, Ethiopians, we need to think down, put down our heads and then think about it and then pray for Ethiopia and then do something better. That's what I really want to suggest. And thank you for having me, and God bless Ethiopia, God bless Africa, and God bless the whole nation in general.
Thank you. Prime Media audiences, this is my half an hour with Akalu. I'll be back with another guest. Thank you.